Welcome to 318 Legends, where we have conversations with athletes from the 318 area code who have gone on to play at the next level. Our guest today is a graduate of West Monroe High School, class of 2017. He was the third round pick 85 in the 2017 MLB draft with the Los Angeles Angels, and is currently actually a free agent. And so with us today is Jacob Pearson. Jacob, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Man, we are doing well. Thank you for being
Doing
on
great.
today. Um, Excited to have you as a guest. And so we're just going to start diving into the questions. But before that, tell us a little bit about yourself if anyone's watching that does not know who you are.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's an honor to be here. My name's Jacob Pearson. Baseball's pretty much been my whole life. Grew up from a very young age. My dad got me in the sport. Fell in love with it early on. Just kind of saw the ins and outs and like how it compared to life and the work ethic that it took, and then seeing results. And that just kept inspiring me to be better and better. And then when I got to high school, my love for it took it to a next level, and I kind of became engulfed in it, and it became part of who I was. And then now I've made a career out of it, and that's what we do. So we just everything I do is about baseball. My work's out of life, and I enjoy work. So you know what they say? It's like if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. So
Yeah, man.
for
Well,
where I'm at.
also, as we discussed off screen, a new father. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
so, Jacob, you played at West Monroe High School. Tell us some of your favorite memories or just what you remember the most about playing baseball at West Monroe High School.
So um, I had a great time at West Monroe, and basically our group of guys was phenomenal. Kind of going from like freshman year to junior year was like I said, kind of a blur, and the fact that I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I felt like I was playing up on a higher level team than the player that I was, and it didn't really sink in to me until I got to my senior year, and kind of like I don't know, you play your senior year and everybody tells you like, hey, this is something you're going to forever cherish. Like you need to soak it in. And I think I felt like I didn't do that in my first 3 years, and I just kind of played and we played well. But my senior year, I wanted to soak everything in. And so one of my core memories from that group is just the group itself. Our group, we were not strangers. We did not show up to the field and just hang out there. We would leave the field. We'd go work out as a unit. We would go hang out at people's houses as a team. Like we were a team 24 hours a day, which was crazy to spend that much time with a group for so long. And it was just this unreal team bond that I haven't experienced since. And that's probably my biggest core memory, my senior year of high school, that team.
Yeah. So moving on, obviously you mentioned how you wanted to take it a step further and that you were just extremely engulfed. Tell us about like your recruiting process for either the next level, college. What was that like?
Yeah, so recruiting started a little bit early. I remember being going into my freshman year. I didn't know if I would play on varsity. I didn't even know if I'd make like JV or anything. I was clueless, naive to kind of what the high school baseball sector looked like. But Ross Blankenship was our head coach my freshman year, and I trained with the team during the off season, but we get into like early February or late January where we're having a scrimmage game. This is my freshman year, and I'm playing up with the varsity on scrimmage and a scrimmage game, and we're playing Washita, and I have a good game. And kind of the recruiting started then because I get a call the next day from Mississippi State, and I hadn't even played a high school game yet. I didn't even know if I was going to make the varsity team. And here I'm getting a call from the Mississippi State recruiting coordinator, which was Nick Mingione at the time. And now he's head baseball coach at Kentucky. So he gives me a call and he was like, hey, I'm interested in you. I kind of want to follow your career and whatnot. And so play out the season, had a good season. We stayed in constant communication. Other teams picked up, other schools started touching in. It was Ole Miss and LSU at that point. And then early into my sophomore season, before I even played a game my sophomore season, I had got an offer from Mississippi State and I accepted it. So I committed to Mississippi State my sophomore year. Moving forward, I was committed there going into my senior year. So I was there committed for 2 years. Nick Mingione, Butch Thompson, John Cohen were the coaching staff there. John Cohen takes the AD job. Nick Mingione takes the head coach at Kentucky, and Thompson takes the head coach at Auburn. So I'm in this weird position where there's going to be a whole new group of guys coming in. I don't know if they like me. I don't know if I like them. It was kind of one of those things. So I decided to kind of reopen my recruiting process. And that's when, LSU reached back out, and they were saying that they were still interested. And that was the first team to reach back out. So I was, obviously I wanted to stay in state or, stay somewhere close. And LSU is a great school, great program. So that's where I committed to LSU. It was kind of a confusing, lengthy process, but it all happened very quick, it felt like. And so I ended up staying committed to LSU and signing with LSU. But unfortunately, I never made it there. So,
Yeah. So speaking of never making it there, the next question is why, we see this a lot with high school baseball players that go higher in the draft, but what made you skip college and go straight to the pros? And then the second question with that, so we understand, was there an option to go back to college after you officially got drafted, or was it once you got drafted, you had to go to the pros?
yeah, I'll answer the first part. No, I had the second part. The reason I had like a list of things that I wanted, to miss out on the college experience. So, I mean, the list included money and, certain things. One was being my college would be paid for whenever I decided I was done playing baseball. And, the Los Angeles Angels met all those requirements. So me being 18, I felt like that was good enough for me. And I was very happy. And to this day, I have not regretted that decision once, because I felt like that it has just molded me into the person I am today. And I couldn't imagine my life any other way. And I just think I had no regrets with that decision, and I've enjoyed my time in pro ball. The second part of the question is, could I have gone to college after getting drafted? And the answer is yes, unless, so you can get drafted, but the minute that you sign the contract, then you're no longer allowed to go back to college and play baseball. You can go back and you still have 4 years of eligibility in college to play any other sport, but you can't play college baseball. So, whenever I was young, you have all these intrusive thoughts, but some of mine were like, what if I tear my shoulder or blow out my elbow and I can't play baseball anymore, and I'm still 19 or 20 years old? I might go back and try to play a different sport, But now that I'll be 26 next year or this year, I'm like, I'm probably not going to do that. So maybe golf one day. I'll be like, is it J.R. Smith, the
There you
basketball
go.
player?
Yeah.
So I could do that later on in life, because I love golf. But yeah, so whenever I decided to sign my name to the dotted line, it was this is your lifestyle now, and I totally embraced it and took full responsibility of it, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
So being drafted, what is that like? Like all the
Yeah,
emotions you must have felt, like leading up to it. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
it was like an experience that is hard to describe, but my senior year, or going into my senior year, and I'll preface that with the summer before my senior year is like the main that's like the main recruiting summer for pro scouts. So like you're out playing travel ball or whatever, and all the scouts are at those games. And so that's where my recruiting really started. And the scouts would come to you and they ask you questions, and you're doing questionnaires, and they're trying to see what kind of person you are to see if you fit their organization. And then once you get into the fall and the winter, you're no longer on that showcase, and these scouts are now wanting to come back and reach out to you to see what's home like. So they have these set up meals with you where they come into your home and you have dinner, and like they just want to get to know you better away from the field. And so that process, I mean, I think I met with 29 of 30 teams throughout
Wow.
the fall. And we went into the spring, and some of the scouts would retouch back, and they would come back and meet you again. And we get into like late baseball season, like pre-playoffs, but late baseball season, and they start throwing out these mock drafts, like where you think you're going to go. And from what I know, those things are total, like they're not, like, they make no sense. Like, they
Mm.
throw out things just, I feel like, it to get with you, like get in your head. As a high school kid, it definitely did. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is he higher than me? You start comparing, and then you figure out that, like, you're focusing on the wrong things, because at the end of the day, it's out of your control. And so whenever they started throwing the mock drafts out, I found myself becoming more emotional to what I couldn't control. And then I, realized that, and I had to kind of dial it back in, and, kind of back to the senior year deal, is like kind of soak in the whole process. And scouts start telling you, like, this is where we see you with our team, this is where we see you. And then you kind of formulate your own mock draft, so to speak. And, draft day is totally different than anything you can imagine. And I know, like, the morning of draft day, like round one draft day, it's terrifying. You're getting calls from the same team 30 times. And they're like, hey, if this pick happens, then we're taking you. If we pick this guy, then we're taking you. If this guy falls, we're not taking you. And you're like, dude, stop telling me all this. Like, it's so much. And your heart's sitting there racing the entire time. And I know day one, but in my year, was the first round and the second round. And, the way we had talked to scouts was we had kind of locked in on that second round. And that's kind of where we were. And we actually had a team call, and I'm not going to specify what team, but we had a team call and say, hey, we're going to pick you with this pick. And this is just how crazy the draft is. They call, they say, hey, congratulations, we're going to pick you with this pick. You watch the TV, and they don't pick you. And that is where I was absolutely devastated, knowing that this is kind of what it was in that slot that we thought would happen. It happened, but then it didn't actually happen. And so now you're like panicking. So my emotions go from like super stable to, oh my gosh, they're going to take me, to they didn't take me. Now I don't know, like, what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
just a roller coaster of emotions that day. And then after day one ended, so first and second round ended, teams reach out. They're like, hey, this is our offer. Will you take this? And so we were getting calls from like midnight to 2 a.m. I guess going into day two, super early. And, the Angels had the right offer. There were a couple other teams that had the right offer. And we were just saying, like, you got to take it. Like, you got to take us. We're willing to accept the offer, but you, at the end of the day, have to take us. So that's how it was. It was a roller coaster of emotions. And, anybody that goes through that process will have the same exact answer, that it's just your heart's racing the whole time, and you're just hoping to get picked, because the last thing you want is to be anticipated to pick and then not get picked. And that's just heartbreaking. So it was crazy.
Yeah, that does sound really crazy. Like the highs and the lows. It's like
Yeah.
secondary question real quick before I get on to our next actual question. How many picks was the difference between the team you will not name that said they'll take you versus when you actually got picked? How many picks was in between that?
I want to say that was pick. I'm not going to say the right number, but I'm going to say it was about 30 picks.
Oh wow.
About 30 picks. Yeah. Because if I say the specific number, you'll be able to find the team.
So
So
that
about 30
yeah,
picks.
but that's essentially between round two and round. That's a whole round
It was a whole
worth of
round, and it was a lot of money too. Um,
yeah.
so it was kind of a big deal. The money didn't really matter, but it's the principle of the whole deal that went down. So
Yeah. So now you've had a few years under you in the minor leagues. What for you has been the daily life of a minor leaguer? Your morning routine or workout schedule, practice. game day schedule between travel and everything going on the past 5 or 6 years that you've been in the minor leagues?
Well, I can tell you it's gotten a lot better recently. But so I'll go back to like rookie ball, low A, a little bit of high A. The travel, brutal. It would be like, so rookie ball, every team's located kind of in the same vicinity. So you would show up, if it was a normal work day, you'd show up at 1 p.m. and we're in the Arizona desert where it's 120 degrees in
Mm.
the summer. And you'd show up at 1 p.m. You'd have practice at 2 p.m., 2 to 4. You'd practice on the field, and then you'd come in, you'd relax for a couple hours, and you go out and play at 7. And if you had like workouts, we'd work out like 3 or 4 days a week. You'd show up at 12, work out, practice started 2. So it's kind of like if you have a scheduled lift that day, and everybody's different, but you're kind of on your own plan basically. But if you have a workout that day, you'd just show up an hour earlier. But most report times are around 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, about 6 hours early. And then, the game's 3.5 hours. Sometimes they run late. And then you're another hour after the game before you actually leave. So we're getting home at midnight from a 7 o'clock game. So you're going from 1 to midnight. So a nice 11-hour work day. That was rookie ball. Low A was better. It would be like a 1:30 report for a 7 o'clock game. And kind of the same schedule. You're practicing every single day. You're working out 3 or 4 days a week. What I would say about low A was the travel. Like you're getting on a bus and you're driving 8 hours to play a 3-game series, and then you're getting on the bus and driving 12 hours in a different direction to go play another 3-game series, and then you have an off day and you have a 15-hour bus ride back home. So like
Wow.
that was your off day, and back then you only got like 11 off days a season, so you'd get about 2 a month. And it just happened to be, every single off that you got was a 15-hour bus ride. So it was not fun. But after COVID, they actually changed the way the minor leagues operated. And so they made teams more localized. You still have those long bus trips, but I think my longest bus trip recently is about 8.5 hours as opposed to 15.
Mm.
And you get one off day a week. So now we don't play on Mondays. Monday is a travel day. And so you go Tuesday through Sunday playing. And then, if you're within a certain distance, then you can leave Sunday night and you have the whole Monday off, or you can have the whole Monday off and get up early Tuesday and leave if you're in a certain distance. But back then you would play, travel, and a lot of times travel days were also play days. So like if it was like an 8-hour bus ride, you would play that night, drive 8 hours, get there at like 4 or 5 a.m., and then sleep till noon and wake up and go to the field for 1 o'clock practice. So it was just a constant cycle. Your body hurt. You're young, so the coaches are telling you there's no reason your body should hurt. You're young, and your body feels like you've been through the ringer. So I don't know. Maybe that's why my knees hurt. No, no, it was a lot worse back then, and now they've made it to where it's very doable, and there's really not a whole lot of complaining on the travel for minor leaguers now. I don't see it. I don't see or hear a lot of complaining. Not like it was. So it's gotten
Mm.
a lot better. But
Nice. And then heading into our last question, what are some of your favorite moments when you look back into your career and till now? Like what have been some of your best moments, favorite moments throughout your career?
so I would say the obvious ones are like winning. Um, we did a really good job my senior year as a team, and we got really far. And I think the only way you can enjoy doing something is when you win at it. If you constantly fail at it, you're not going to really enjoy it. And, so my best times or my best moments come whenever things are going well, obviously. Um, Senior year, example one, 2021, we won the AA championship league. So that was super awesome. That was a really fun team too. I look at some of like personal highlights, where like I don't know, you rob a home run or you hit, a walk-off grand slam. Those key moments, where they're like highlights in your career. I look at those. Those are awesome. One of my favorites is so my first professional home run I hit didn't come my first year. I played 40 games my first year, didn't hit a homer. My second year, I hit my first professional homer. I think week one of being in full season ball, and that bat that I hit the homer with, it I didn't want to use it again because I felt like it was something special.
Mm.
And so I didn't take it out. Most people would be like, "That's my magic bat. I'm gonna go out there and keep hitting with it." Well, I was like, "There's this bat. I don't need to hit with it again because I don't want to break it." And so what I did was I put it in my bag, kind of forgot about it really. The next year, my dad retires from work. He had been a firefighter for 25 years. He retired. And one of his coworkers happened to reach out to me. He was like, "Hey, we're going to make your dad an axe for his retirement. And we want to, get everything engraved." And he was like, "Is there anything you want to add to it?" And I was like, "Do you think we can make a handle out of a bat?" And he's like, "I'm sure we can." So I gave him the bat that I hit my first homer with professionally because my dad, he'd been with me the entire way
Mm.
from being a kid up. I gave him the bat that I hit my first homer with, and they made a handle for an axe, and so that's hanging at his house. I thought that's a
That's
highlight of my
awesome.
career for sure. Um, Other highlights include like meeting famous people, like all the big superstars in the game. Like you come across them, you play against them, especially in spring training. They're all there, like you're hanging out with them. So that's also super cool. My time with Los Angeles, got to meet Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, those kind of guys.
Mm.
Fun fact too, whenever I was traded from Los Angeles to Minnesota, I went Los Angeles, Minnesota to Atlanta. When I was traded from Los Angeles to Minnesota, that was during the Shohei Ohtani signing. So Shohei Ohtani was coming from Japan, and the Angels needed a certain amount of money to buy him, and they traded me to Minnesota for that amount of money, and then they went and signed Shohei. So, fun fact, I was traded for Shohei, technically. So that's a highlight of my career too, I guess. He's a great ball player, MVP. So
Mhm.
yeah, no, highlights of my career really. I don't like looking at personal highlights. I just kind of like looking at my favorite moments in the game, and every time I think of favorite moments, I think of winning. And you they say like one of our famous lines in the minor leagues is like have a mind of a goldfish. And so when you fail, forget about it in 15 seconds.
Mm.
So when I think back on my career, I don't think of all the failures because I forgot about those. I think of all the successes that we had and all the good times that we had. And that's kind of, that's why I look back and I'm very happy about what I've done so far in my career.
Yeah. So I added this last second to my personal questions because I just want to be a little fun. What's been your favorite spot, minor league wise? Like, what's been your favorite place to be at, live?
Mm, that's good. Man, they all have their perks. So I'll touch on a couple. Like Arizona was super fun because it was hot, but in the evenings it was amazing weather, and it was kind of a fun environment, especially for like a young guy. Like I was 19 at the time, 18, 19. Um, Iowa was super cool because it was host family setup, and I got put into like a mansion that had like an indoor pool and like
Wow.
game room,
Wow.
movie room. Like that place was awesome because I mean, I didn't want to leave the house. Um, Florida was awesome, so I spent some time in Florida. The beach was right there. Like you got your day off, you went to the beach. Sunset. I'm also a photographer is like a hobby, so it was like perfect photography area. Jackson, Mississippi. Not a whole lot of like stuff around it other than like fishing. I like fishing, so I did a lot of fishing, and I just made the quick trip to West Monroe on my off days. So that was the perk about Jackson. But I think living around, every spot has its own benefits, and you just kind of like take in what's great about the spot, and you kind of capitalize on it because you're not there for long. Like you're only going to be there for a little bit of time. My wife really loved Rome, Georgia. So Rome,
Mm,
Georgia is a small town outside of Atlanta, and I mean, it just had the small town vibe to it, and we absolutely loved it. It's got a little downtown area with like ice cream shops, coffee shops, restaurants. Like it was just a downtown small town vibe that
mm.
we loved. So that was a really cool spot too. But you visit all these other towns and you're only there for a 3 game set, and you don't get to fully embrace like what that city's about. But there are a lot of cool towns that you play in. So
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, I think it's been cool for you, and then for us, like you represent our town well, West Monroe. You've done a good job of that, and so we want to wish you luck as you're a free agent. Whatever's next for you and your family, and whatever happens, we want to send you luck from our ways, and be praying for y'all and the next steps of hopefully isn't too hard of a process of trying to find where you're going. So,
I
hey,
appreciate it.
you got anything you want to plug? Anything going on in your life here right now?
Um, I know, like what I do to keep myself busy now is me and my dad, we kind of help out the younger generation by doing lessons and stuff like that. So we're kind of, in a sense, giving back, but also kind of like keeping ourselves busy. So what we do is we have a little facility across the street from West Monroe High School. And we work with like ages from 7 and up, really. We got some
Mm.
college guys, some high school guys that we work with. All about trying to figure out how to love the game and play it the right way. So that's what we teach. So
What's the name of it, or is there a
it's
name?
it's Pearson Baseball Academy. So
Okay.
we have a website, pearsonbaseballacademy.com. We got Twitter, Instagram, social media platforms. Um, Decent, it's fun, and we have a building, and we set it up in a way that feels homey because that's just how we are. We want to feel like we're at home whenever we're playing. So no, we I think we have a lot of people in the area that come. So maybe I know like the Sterlington area is it's a little far of a drive for them, but we do occasionally get a Sterlington player, Ruston. I know Winsboro and stuff like that. We get a few of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, man, we want to thank you for being on today, and
Yeah.
so I was glad to have you. As Stockley and I have not played college sports, it's cool to hear insights from you and playing minor league, the draft process, the recruiting process. And so we want to thank you guys for watching, if you're watching us right now. So for 318 Legends, this is Lucas Toller from Jacob Stockley and Jacob Pearson. We want to say thank you for watching and peace out.
See ya.